In this video, I'm going to show you how to make your interactive videos interactive. To do that, we need to go into the timeline editor. So right now you can see we're in the canvas. To enter the timeline editor, all we need to do is to double click on a video. And this is the timeline editor. On the right side, we have the video and the video timeline. On the left side, we have the different interactive elements that I'm going to show you how to use. Now, in this video, I can either play.
Welcome to our coffee shop. We want to give you a special...
Or I can drag this scrubber bar here.
Just for you. So tell us, what would you most like to come in and try?
Now, what you'll notice is this video already has an animation that has been put on the end of it. That was done by our videographer. Now, don't worry if you don't have the skills to do that, because we're going to show you how you can create and edit interaction layers just like this in the next video when we talk about interaction layers. Okay, so as a sneak peek, you can see over here we can create blank interaction layers, or you can choose from one of these three presets. So the coffee shop one that we're using right now, or any of these two, you can edit. Pro users can use any of these that we've previously made. Now, if you're not a pro user, don't worry. You can still recreate all of these really cool animated interaction layers just by starting from scratch, by creating them from a blank template. But we're going to get into interaction layers in a different video. For now, let's talk about these interactive elements over here. So the first one is a hotspot. A hotspot is an invisible button. So you can see we already created one of these invisible buttons for espresso. Now what we're going to do is drag another one over for Americano. Now this is the wizard. We can use the wizard or we can just skip the wizard. On the wizard it says enter the element name. I'm going to put Americano. We can add certain elements to groups, and I'm not going to do it for this example because I want to go over creating individual interactive elements so you can, get it ingrained in your head how to do this. We can also skip the wizard if we want. I'm going to hit next. Then we can choose whether to pause the video when this interaction happens, this interactive element shows up. I don't want the video to pause. And we can choose what happens on the click. So do we want it to do nothing? Do we want it to play a node where I can select the node that's going to play? Do we want it to open a URL? Or do we want it to skip to a certain time in the video? I want it to play a node, and it's going to be the Americano one. I'm going to click on done. And here you can see it's been added to my timeline and I can move it around. I'm just going to make it the same kind of distance as this. And I'm just going to reposition this button like so. Now, if I go back to the canvas, you'll see it's added the element click path over here. So when we click Americano, the video is going to play the Americano video. So now let's do cappuccino and latte real quick. So I'm going to just fast forward to over here where we want the animation to take place. I'm going to drag the hotspot over. I'm going to skip the wizard this time. So I'm just going to make the hotspot go over cappuccino over here. And now I can choose what happens on the left, just like what happened in the wizard. So I'm going to name this as cappuccino. On click, I want it to play the cappuccino node. Okay, and there we have it. We can change the height, the vertical position, all of that stuff, but we don't need to go into that much detail. Okay, we just need it to be on there. Again, if I go back, it's now created the cappuccino element path. Last one to do is latte. So again, I'm going to fast forward. I'm going to find my interaction layer. I'm going to drag the hotspot in. I'm going to skip the wizard. And let's make this latte video. element, sorry, when someone clicks that area, we want it to play the latte video, and I'll just call it latte over here. Cool. Okay, so now we've made those interactive elements using hotspots, but there are other options. Okay, if I open this video, let's say I wanted to use a button over here. Okay, I can drag a button onto the canvas. Again, we can go over the wizard where we can name the button. So I'm just going to say my button. I'm going to go next. Then we can choose the appearance. Now we can copy a previously created button, which saves time when creating multiple buttons, or we can create a new one from scratch. Okay, so we can see this is where the button is, and we can resize this. You know, I can change this to say, please click here. Oh, let me delete that text. Okay, I can make it bold if I want to. I can increase the, you know, the size, the font, all of that good stuff. And then we choose the action. What do we want it to do? Do you want it to play a node, open URL, skip to a certain time, unpause the video? I'm just going to say, just for the purpose of this demo, I just want it to do nothing. So I just want to show it you. Okay, and here's our button. Okay, and we can choose again where we want it to appear and for how long.
So we can show you just how wonderful our coffee shop is.
Okay, and of course on the left hand side again we can change the position, the color, the appearance, you know, the roundness, the letter spacing. You know, we can really do whatever we want to customize the appearance of this. Okay, so that is buttons. Now, just to keep this nice and clean, I'm just going to delete this button. Okay, another aspect that you can use for buttons is images. So if I drag an image over here, we'll just keep this as image 1. And I'm just going to go through the wizard, so I can go next. And we can drag and drop images from our computer or open images from our computer. Or if you're a pro user, you can use the image library. So in our image library, we have lots of images that we use. And we also have images that are buttons, because with HTML buttons, there's, you know, certain stuff that you can do. We can upload GIFs. But if you create an image button, you can make them look a lot cooler. So we've got lots and lots of different designs of buttons that you guys can use. Okay. And again, we'll go over more of the pro features in a different training video. Right now, we're just going over all of the basics. Okay. So let me close this. And what I'll do is, let me quickly download a button from Google. So let's say that I wanted to use, you know, this button over here, let's say. Okay, I'm going to download this. I'm going to go on Save Image As. Let's just save it to my desktop. So then when I head over to here, I'm just going to open my button. It's going to load the button up. I'm going to click on next. We can choose the action. Let's say that I wanted it to open google.com. I'm going to click on done, and here's my button. Okay, of course I can, you know, resize this. Unfortunately, the button that I downloaded from Google wasn't transparent in the background. Okay, but of course we'd want a transparent background. And this is where the button would go. Okay, so you can get a lot cooler looking buttons if you download them or use them, or you can upgrade to the pro version to use the buttons that are inside of the app. Okay, more on those buttons and the other pro features in a later training video. Let's have a look at text. As it says on the tin, text just allows us to type text. I'm just going to skip the wizard. Okay, the text is here, and we can choose what we want to say over here, okay? And we can, you know, make it bold, increase the size, change the, you know, the text color, whatever we want to do if we want to add text. Again, as usual, down here on the left is where we can change all the appearance and the size, etc. I'm just going to delete this to keep it clean. Next is dynamic text. So dynamic text means we can input, I'm just going to skip the wizard. We can input certain parameters. So right here, let's say I wanted it to say, hey, and then I wanted it to say the person's name. So I'll put these brackets here, and I'm just going to say name with an exclamation mark. Okay, let's make it bold. And then all we would do is when we send out the link to this video in a share page, we'd make sure that at the end of the link we have question mark name equals Ryan. And what that would do is when we share this video and this plays, it would say, hey, Ryan, it would say there. Okay? And in the left-hand element properties, we can add dynamic text values as well. So if I said the default value for name is going to be you. And there we have Siri. Okay? So that means that if we send out the link to the project, and again, I'm going to show you how you can share your projects and how you can share pages with your videos on, etc. in a later training video. This would mean that if somebody's name isn't up here, it would just say you. So over here it would say, hey you. Okay, so that's how dynamic text works. Oh, let me go back in here. Press the wrong back button. So I'm going to delete this text. Keep this clean. Okay, next, email. Email again, I'm just going to skip the wizard. This is going to allow you to capture emails in your video. Again, we can edit this with the element properties on the left. We can change the size, the shape. We can change what happens when someone submits their email. Do we want it to play a different video, open URL, or skip to a certain time? We can choose the email handler, which is the, you know, do we want the autoresponder to collect this in a list? And again, to set up the autoresponder, we can click on integration settings and we can hook in via API to some of the popular autoresponders over here. We use ActiveCampaign, or you can use Zapier. By using a Zapier webhook, and we've got the link over here, Zapier connects to hundreds of autoresponders. So by using Zapier, the email would get sent to Zapier, then Zapier would send the email to your email service provider. Okay, but that's how to set up the integrations for email to work. Now, staying on the email kind of path for this element, what we can also do is we can change the appearance and the color of the form, but we can also change the form options. So do you want it to show a name as well as an email? Do we want it to show on one line or two lines? If we want it to look, like this, where we can have it the more, I guess, traditional way, emails are. And we can change this. We can make the button bigger. We can have this however we want. If we want it to make it really big, okay? We can edit all of this down here on the form options. We can change the field label. We can change the success message, an error message if someone puts their email in wrong. We can do all of that in the element properties. Okay? Now, I'm going to delete this email and custom HTML. Custom HTML is an advanced feature for people that know HTML and want to write custom code, because there's some cool things you can do with custom code with your videos. Out of the scope for myself, I'm a basic user, but any of the kind of the tech guys that know how to write custom HTML, we've got that in here as an option. Images we've covered, and finally pop-ups. If I drag over a pop-up over here, pop-ups are predetermined elements that we've created that you can use so you don't have to build things yourself. So for example, if I go to next, and where it says what would we like to create, it says create new, copy a previous one, or use a template. If I click on use a template, it shows us the different types of pop-ups that we can use. So if I use the email one, for example, this is the email template. Again, using the elements that I just shown you, you could create this. You know, this is just text, this is email, this is more text over here, but we've created these already. Again, they can be edited on this left-hand side over here, but this is how the pop-ups work, okay? Now, what you'll also notice is at the bottom is where it says elements, is where each one of these elements are. So, you know, the heading element, the subheading element, the skip button, and the email input. And you can edit all of these, okay? If I go to, let's head back over to our pop-up. If I go to change preset, again, it's going to allow us to change this if I want to. Okay, so if I wanted to add a coupon, I can use the coupon pop-up. Okay, again, you could create this exactly as it shows on here from scratch, but the pop-ups just make it quicker and easier. And we add pop-ups in here as well. Okay, if I wanted to use the, you know, the ecom pop-up, the ecom template over here. Okay, as you can see, again, this is just a pop-up that we've built that you can use. You can edit this as much as you want, or you can create your own from scratch. Okay, so we've covered what hotspots are and how to add hotspots. We've covered buttons, text, dynamic text, email integrations, custom HTML, which is above my pay grade. We'll have another video on how to use custom HTML in this training section for the advanced users. Images and pop-ups. Okay, again, when we go back to the canvas, because we've used our pop-ups, this is all created for us. Okay, and remember, to edit a video, we just double click on the video. Once we've double clicked on the video, it opens it, and we can go through the timeline and add our interactive elements. Okay, again, if you don't have the video editing skills or the animation skills to be able to create the nice animated interaction layers, that's why we have the interaction layer menu over here. Okay, and everyone gets these 3 templates they can use, or you can create your own from scratch. Okay, but we're going to cover these interaction layers in the next video.